anybody who stand up to protect his or her basic human rights as a terrorist. Whoever speaks up to tell the truth about the truth, labeled as a terrorist. As the government of East Turkestan in exile, we tell the world that we are not terrorists. We are just a victim of the terrorist, and the terrorist is the communist China. And we have the proof of that. Whatever I said, every single word, every sentence has the proof that communist China is the terrorist. Communist China is the dictator, and communist China is a threat not only for East Turkestani people, but all of the human beings. This is one of the reasons why we set up our government in exile. We set up our government in exile not only for the sake of the people of Eastern Turkestan, not only for the sake of the 30 million East Turkestani people under the brutal control of China, but for the sake of the millions and billions of people all around the world. We just want to work with the international community as a nation, as an independent entity, as an independent country. We are not just declaring our independence because that's we want to be, but we were an independent nation. We and our ancestors lived as an independent nation for many centuries and contribute to the world civilization, contribute to the peace of the world civilization. Of course, I don't deny, personally, I don't deny that sometimes in the history they act violently. It happens everywhere. Sometimes they fight with their enemy. Sometimes they just live in a peace. In a peace in their homeland or in a peace with their neighboring countries. Now I would like to read our Declaration of Independence prepared by our many government officials, including President, Vice President, and the cabinet members, and the Parliament, Chairman of the Parliament, and the rest of the, all of the members of the Parliament. Unfortunately, not all of the members of the Parliament were able to attend this meeting or attend that last 2 days event because of some other issues, because lack of travel document. Some of them's visa application was denied, not granted. So I hope you understand the nature of the difficulties we are facing with. If there's no obstacle for my fellow East Turkestanis who wants to support this government exile, at least 10,000 East Turkestanis will be present in Washington, D.C. And this press room will be full by many of them. Unfortunately, we are unable to bring them. Mainly because of that types of lackness, many issues. But still, I appreciate the opportunity granted for everybody like me, for like anybody, like any human being, granted by the United States of America, the freedom of speech. I, as the Prime Minister of East Turkestan government in exile, thank to the U.S. government to allow us to set up our government in exile. Now I would like to read our statement or declaration. Launching the Parliament and the Constitution of the East Turkestan government in exile. 50 years ago, August 17, 1949, a plane carrying the leaders of the Republic of Eastern Turkestan crashed under mysterious circumstance. When the news reached to Beijing, Mao Zedong sent in the communist military, and the occupation of East Turkestan began. Throughout the ensuing years, many have come to the aid and comfort the oppressed and tried to spread their message of pain and anguish, sought by the hope of freedom and independence for what was once a flourishing civilization. However, the communists continuously and brutally snuffed out every candle, silenced every voice, and killed any flowers of hope they could find. For years, the people of East Turkestan have wondered, does anyone hear them? Is there a voice abroad for East Turkestan? Is there any entity, a government, an authority that speak for them? That wondering, that longing has ended. East Turkestan has found its voice again. So that the international community, particularly the United States of America, help us establishing and amplifying that voice. We, the East Turkestani community in exile, established a government of the Republic of East Turkestan in exile. We strongly believe that we can bring hope again to and be a voice for the Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and Tajik, and all other oppressed people of East Turkestan suffering under communist regime. My country is known to Chinese as a Xinjiang province. That fact alone explains much of this letter's or this declaration's purpose. Certain assumptions come from calling this region Xinjiang. The most basic is that it is part of China. And from that flowed assumption that its native speaks Chinese and that they look like East Asians, that they come out of a Confucian tradition and so on. All of these assumptions are wrong. As the name East Turkestan implies, or as you can see, their face, the face of my people, they are not Chinese. And that the West region, in addition to that, West region has for centuries have been the land of East Turkestan Turks, who are Muslim by faith, Caucasian by race, and whose native language is not remotely related to Chinese. Ask my fellow Eastern Turkistanis.